Hello guys, this is Josh from Scarebox. Today we have a really fun one. We're going to do like a retrospective on subspecies at Alton Towers. So this is a maze that I really find sort of inspirational as an attraction, and something that maybe most Scare Adventures aspire to have. This maze, so context 2015, mazes that were sort of touching and separation and kind of like free flow. It wasn't really that big in the UK. A lot of the mazes were linear. The only real dabble we saw was Cabin in the Woods and Remember by Valentine. Other than that, mazes were very linear, one path. Separation wasn't really a thing, and I guess it was dabbled with at Experiment 10, but Scarefest definitely had more traditional mazes. 2015, it was tough for Alton Towers. Obviously, the Smiler crash happened, and everything was a little bit dark and sort of the bit gloomy. So when this maze got dropped, it was definitely a bit crazy. Everyone seemed to sort of be shocked by it a little bit. But yeah, my first run through, I totally get, like, I got it. For those who didn't go through subspecies, I'm not going to go over like the whole experience, how it was, because I don't remember every single bit, but I'll give you like the important parts. So the maze, you start off like being told about the games. It's like a little like sort of little showroom, about maybe 6 seconds. Basically the whole plot is you're kind of like they're betting on all of you, and you're all like in the rat race underground. And it's like a sacrifice to feed, I think it's like the aliens in the underground, something along those lines. It's like a game show. And after that, you walk into this room, or corridor more like, and there's kind of like these doors. Well, you don't really see the doors, not obvious, but basically there's like a countdown, the lights flicker off, people have been taken. They tend to, I think it was like open doors, so they just like open the door, grab some people, take them through, close the door, wait about 30 seconds, they come back, take more people. So the lights flicker back on again, some people have gone, flicker off again, more people have gone, rinse repeat. This really was really good for sort of separating the groups up. You have like a group of 20 going to subspecies, and that group of 20 just completely disappears out of nowhere. This is a maze where you're going to spend most of it alone, and you don't see any other people, or not one other person. And every time the actors see you with someone, they will completely go out their way to separate you. And yeah, this is one of the most intense parts about that maze. And unlike sort of survival games, it feels a lot more big. Survival games feels, I feel like, quite confined. Like, you're always going to run into someone else eventually. But in subspecies, it feels like an endless, sprawling labyrinth, and you could easily get lost, sort of go down the wrong area, or definitely was a lot more intimidating being alone in subspecies, I'd say. And then after that, the maze was quite long as well, unlike survival games, so a lot of sections, and even more sections where they can separate you. That's the thing about survival games, like, I feel like there's separation, it's done really well, but it's not done as aggressively as subspecies. If they see you in a group of 2 or 3, like, or if they did in subspecies, they'd actually, like, pin someone against the wall and wait, like, 5 minutes until the next person keeps going, and they'd break up, if you're holding hands, they'd break you up. It was aggressive, and a lot of, like, sort of shoving, like, kind of sort of pushing you forward quite aggressively. It was very hands-on, it was very intense. Yeah, I think this maze maybe was too much when it came out. Apparently it caused loads of panic attacks, it caused a lot of crying, and a lot of things that, maybe a bit too far for a scare maze. So I think it was the most intense scare maze for like a corporate park like Alton Towers. Obviously, there's more intense mazes as some of the smaller events, but it definitely was a bit batshit for a theme park maze. The other thing about the maze, so it was quite long. You had quite a few like moments, like a squishy floor. You had a section where you had like a rope, and it was pitch black, and the actors had torches. A lot of gas masks, alien costumes. It was pretty scary. a lot of dark corridors. You don't know how you're going. A lot of sort of other corridors where actors can push you into, and they sort of separate you from like everyone else in the maze. It was pretty scary, to be honest. If I had to give my like sort of thing about it, I think it took the whole like separation thing to, like, on absolute bloody steroids. It was utterly crazy. Every time I used to go through this maze, I used to always come out thinking like, what the fuck was that maze? Like, that was amazing. But yeah, that's Subspecies. Some other notes about the maze was the ending sections, where this is even worse, guys. If you didn't already find the darkness or separation, or, you know, if you didn't find that scary, you have a crawling bit at the end. It was quite long as well. I felt like a bit of a workout of a crawl section. And also quite a dark crawl section as well. One of the darkest crawl sections I've ever been through. Like, you can barely see where you're crawling through. And I found actors were quite aggressive in this section. One, I was alone crawling, which is pretty daunting by itself. And an actor literally grabbed my leg and pushed me back. That is horrifying. No wonder the panic attacks happened. The maze had two endings. I only went through one of them. The second ending, I think, was never really open, to be honest. I don't know what happened to that ending, but the first one was a pretty old-fashioned chainsaw ending. But after, because you were going through this alone most of the time, it was pretty scary. And also, at that point, you were already really worked up from everything else. You spent a few minutes crawling in the dark, walking in the dark. You're alone. You've been alone for like 6-7 minutes. You're a bit flustered already, so the chainsaw just, you know, by the time you see the chainsaw, you're ready to run. But yeah, that maze was pretty awesome. It was removed just before sort of COVID time. I think it was 2019 at the time, roughly. No, it must have. I can't remember when it was removed, but I definitely think by COVID it would have definitely gone anyway, because it had so much touching in it, and that wouldn't have worked during COVID period. But yeah, the attraction, I wish it came back, to be fair. It was really, really good. Hopefully Alton Towers take note for future mazes, though I'm unsure whether they would go back to that kind of thing. It was quite a lot to take. Look, it wasn't an easy maze to go through. Like, you had to be very brave. And apparently it used to cause a lot of panic attacks, and these days people, I think, are a bit sort of softer, to be honest. So I'm unsure whether it would result in some kind of like complaint or complaints with an S. Tick up all the touching, quite the aggressive touching, but yeah. It was a lot of people's nightmares. Definitely still haunts me every now and then. But it was a brilliant maze. I think the industry could learn from it. I think it already has. Survival games, I think, was a sort of took inspiration from Subspecies. Though I will be honest, I do feel like it's not particularly the same concept. I'd say survival games is a bit more of like, you have that one arena section, and that's kind of the free flow bit. But yeah, I think maybe it's best for the good that it's not as scary as Subspecies, because Subspecies was maybe too much. But yeah, that's my honest opinion, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah.